Well, I see that it's 12 o'clock here Central Time, so I think we'll go ahead and get started. We'll probably have a few people join us here in the next couple minutes, but I just want to welcome you to webinar number 5, Web Accessibility Practically Applied. It's being presented today by Jennifer Lewis from the University of Southern Mississippi. She serves as their compliance coordinator. If you have questions during the webinar, please feel free to post them in the chat box and we'll keep an eye on those. And so now I'd like to turn it over to Jennifer.
Screen. One sec. Share screen. Okay, I actually want to share this one. So this is a lot to cover in only an hour because there's a lot to accessibility. So I'm going to start off with the thing that will be most useful to you, which is how to make a Word document accessible. And I will be sharing the PowerPoint that goes with this, but I won't be showing it in the interest of trying to do the actual accessibility conversion so you can kind of see it, but the steps are laid out in the PowerPoint that will follow, that Mary will send out afterwards. Okay, so the first thing I want to just reiterate are the objectives for today. I want to give the participants an understanding of the general principles of implementing accessibility, how to use Word and PowerPoint to create accessible documents, and how to fix inaccessible PDFs using Adobe Acrobat Pro. And I do want to mention that Adobe Acrobat Pro is expensive, but you can get it for a very low price with your academic discount. And that's definitely something you want to do because the Pro allows you to do a lot of changes to forms, conversions. It allows you to redact things, and it is very powerful in terms of accessibility. So I would definitely recommend it. I think we paid maybe $30 or $40, and it's hundreds of dollars regularly, but academic discount is the way to go. So from a bird's eye view, I just want to reiterate that we're looking at accessibility holistically. The screen readers are going to try to read everything they can, but they have to know what it is they're reading. And so we have to make sure that we categorize it correctly so that they know the order to read it in. So that is what our goal is with any type of documentation, to begin making it baseline accessible, then convert it to a PDF, and then finish any accessibility checking in the PDF format. And that is always the standard. As we move forward, I want to talk about the first issue. So can y'all see my screen? Let me see if I can see that a little chat. Can everyone see my screen? I'm trying to see where the chat box is. Wait, I see it doing something here. Yes, okay, perfect. Okay, thank you, everyone. I'm gonna move this over here. So right here, the first thing we want to do is go into our file. In the file, we have some options, and we're going to go actually to info. I always have to find info. And check for issues is where we're going. And then we're going to check accessibility. Again, that is file, info, check for issues, check accessibility. So if you're following along, and again, this is in the PowerPoint. Let me see if I can. Now you see the first thing it did. Oops. Hold on one second. Didn't pop out quite right. Let me try again. We got a message at the same time, so. Okay, so what it's trying to do is let me know what I need to do, but hold on one sec. You see an error showing up right here? There's a graphic in there. So what I'm gonna do to fix it is just add some alt text. So I right click, and again, everything is right click, even in the PDF when you're doing your Adobe. So I'm gonna edit my alternate text, and it has no alternate text. So one of the important things about editing images is not to put things like photo, because it already knows what it is. It needs to, it's a graphic, so we're gonna let it know what it actually says, because it can't read the graphic. It's just gonna tell it graphic, which isn't very helpful. So here we're just gonna put NC Sarah logo. Alternatively, if it was just like a bunch of bars or frilly corner pieces so that you could make it fancy, we could just mark it as decorative. And that will allow you to let the person know that it has no real substantive meaning. It's just to make it pretty, and that's enough if that's the case. So now you see it says no accessibility issues found. But now, oops, let me get this. What I want to do is close this window right here. And when you close it, you see it's still retaining that information in the header. And there it goes, it pops out and says mark as decorative. Okay. Now, I want to go back to info. So the other thing that you want to do in info is kind of hard to see because it's not an actual pull down window or anything like that, but you want to make sure that you have your author, that it actually states what your author is, and that you have a title. So right here, I've already got a problem because I didn't even put a title in. So I want to put in licensure questionnaire. The screen reader is going to look at those two fields at minimum and try to let the person kind of know who's the author, what's the title, here we go. And so that's very important to go ahead and get started. And then we're going to go back out of there, and I always like to go back in and just make sure it's still showing up. So now we're out. Now you can add additional information like additional authors, change some information around here, put some comments if you want to, etc. But the minimum is the author and the title. So once you've got done with the author and the title, this box, you want to go look at your document itself, because what you're trying to do is kind of provide some order to it. So you see here that I've already made some headings. And that's one of the big things in both Word and you'll see that in PowerPoint as well as in Adobe, is the headings and the order of the headings. So here's what I want to show you. So right here, if you click on this, you see the heading light lit up right there. So if I wanted to do something that made no sense, I would put something like, I'll just put anything, text. And pretend like that's something that really means something beneath the original heading. If I skip a bunch of headings, this is the part where it's bad. The headings are kind of difficult too. There we go. You can just use that little arrow and find the rest of the headings. I think I must have gotten rid of some, but let's say I just skipped, like there was a heading 3. What you want to do is make sure your headings are in order. So right here, if I put heading 2, you see that menu right there? It's gone ahead and set forth that this is a subheading. So when the reader is reading that, it actually makes sense to it that this is a subheading. But you don't want to skip to like heading 3 or go back a bunch of headings with no rhyme or reason. It has to make sense. And I'll show you a little bit how you can tell if it makes sense in the end. But that is one of the important things, is putting the headings in the right place. So again, I have all this in there, and you'll actually have, there's heading 3. So if I went and did that and then just jumped to another heading level, it has to make sense what I'm doing. So if right here, the same thing, the same text right here was heading 2, then when the reader reads it, it makes no sense why this is heading 3. And you're trying to make it all make sense. So it's telling a story in order, because they can't see, you know, the indentation. They can't see anything in terms of the visual aspect of things. So what you're trying to communicate is logical order in here. So another thing that I wanted to mention was this link here to the NC SARA website. A lot of times you'll see things like, click here for more info. Well, when the screen reader reads it, that's all it sees. It doesn't know where you're even going. So one of the important things that you'll see in all the accessibility instruction videos on YouTube is to put where exactly they're going. So that's why you see, instead of putting for more information, click here, I put for more additional information, see the NC SARA website. And that is the NC SARA website. So it actually has meaning in the link itself. You don't want to just put click here or see more or click if you need more information. Those are very vague, and the person has no clue where they're actually going. And they won't even expect necessarily that they're opening a link. So you probably should be more descriptive. For additional information about licensure, see the NC SARA website by clicking this link or something like that. So the more information you place on here, the easier you make it for the person to understand what they are to expect. And that really is the goal of this. Without being able to see this, would you understand what you're seeing? Because it's just going to be orally presented to them. So that is the other thing I want to talk about. Okay, so to check the heading structure. So we talked about using those headings. So right here, I want to go ahead and say insert. And I want to go ahead and find my table of contents. I always have to look at this. It actually may be in references. It always has, there's. Okay, so I'm going to add a table of contents. It doesn't matter. Usually the automatic one is fine. But that will tell you what you're communicating to the person's screen reader. So this is the information. So if you've got another section here that you failed to tag, that needs to be remedied by putting a heading on it. And again, you're just going to go in there and your references and table of contents, and that checks for you. This navigation pane, if you can bring it up, also does that. But sometimes the navigation pane, you have to go and do some extra steps. This may just be easier for you. I like to do this anyway, and that way I also have a way to get places, because you can use the headings. Look at this. You click, I did put too quick. Hit Control plus click the link, and it takes you there. So it took me to that one. I gotta close this out. Get mad. You see how it jumped? So each of the headings, it helps you navigate it. So it really is a great way of getting around in your document as well. So that's definitely something that you want to do. Now, making accessible list is really about simplicity, because remember, the screen reader can only convey so much information. So what you want to do is make it simple, keep it simple. So you want to use the bullet features. So right here you see I've used the bullet features. You only want to use the numbers, the standard dot, or the circle. So when you're using your bullet features, you don't want to be doing this or this weird thing. You're probably going to go right here, these first three guys, those are standard and it won't be confusing. You start getting into these, it may or may not understand what you're trying to tell it, the screen reader. So you want to keep it very, very simple. And you will want to go ahead and make sure that if you're doing sub-levels that you use the tab key so it automatically places the right bullet beneath it. And don't be changing it away from those three bullets. It's telling you the way that Word is made, or all the Office products, they're made to try to make themselves accessible. So as long as you don't customize things, you won't mess up its innate ability to be accessible. So that's important. Don't complicate it. It's already set up to try to help you make things accessible as a whole. Now we did the images before, or the graphic. And again, you want to just click there, right click, and it's edit your alt text. And sometimes I'll warn you, sometimes it'll populate something in there and it may make no sense at all. So do read that and be careful that whatever is put in there, because sometimes the image comes with a tag someone's placed on there, a very generic tag, and it's not adequate. So try to be very accurate in your description. Otherwise, the person really will not understand what it is that they're seeing. Tables, okay. Making tables accessible is actually pretty easy in Word. Your big thing is to go into your table, and then you're going to go into Table Properties, and you're going to go into Row, and you want to unclick Allow Row to break across pages, because you don't want it laying across pages, because then you may have one row that's cut in between two. So you want to uncheck that, and that's the most important thing. That way it doesn't get really confused as to what you're doing. There's also another important thing you want to do. Right here in the same table, you want to right click on Table Properties again, and you want to repeat as header row at the top of each page. So if this list goes on and on, like in this actual table, see? Now it's popped in here. So it's not just lying there kind of absent of its context. So that before you saw that, and I'll just undo it so you can make sure you see that, you can't really tell what you're supposed to do here. So by just clicking right here, Table Properties, and repeat as header row, then it repeats it automatically, and when the screen reader sees it, it will start again explaining it. So this isn't just sitting there orphaned and misunderstood, because you don't want to leave the person without the ability of understanding where they stand. Font. Font is also very important. This is one of the things that not bothers me, but I'm also in the PhD program. So one of the things that we're always told is that you're supposed to use Times New Roman all day long, Times New Roman. Well, problem with that is that Times New Roman is not a sans serif font. Sans serif fonts are easier to read. Because remember, you're not just looking at screen reader issues, you're also looking at people that have low light issues, which, you know, as we all get older and our eyes get a little bit worse, I have that issue. So one of the things you can do is use the sans serif fonts. So you want to use Arial or Verdana, and you also don't want to use a font size less than 12. So you see here, this document is in Arial, because the other ones are more difficult to read, especially if you're having vision issues. Remember, we're looking at accessibility for all sorts of population, a broad range of population, from low light issues to blindness to all sorts of different issues. So the reality is we want to make this as accommodating as possible and as inclusive as possible. This is probably the hardest part of this, and maybe not my strength, honestly. I'm colorblind, so me having a discussion on colors is probably pretty ironic. But in the PowerPoint, you'll see, and let me see if I can drag the PowerPoint over here so you can kind of get a taste of some of this. You'll see that certain colors are easier to read than others. So the larger the font, obviously, is more likely to pass, but even certain color schemes, with this pink with this white, still fails at 18. So one of the things that you want to do is make sure that you have adequate contrast with your background color. So in a Word document, you're thinking, oh, you might not have this issue, but yes, you will, because here I used color. And the headings automatically, you see, are based on, click on right, and you click on your heading here and modify. This is probably what you don't want to do, for the very reason that you know, this is supposed to be set up in the best way possible for a variety of reasons. But you can modify your headings right here, and then you see colors automatically in this. I haven't modified these. These are as they were in the install package. So if we're looking to determine whether or not something is going to be enough contrast, we have to have some information, some baseline information. We have to know what the color is. And I don't know about you, but I don't know about RGB or hexadecimals or any of those things in terms of answering that question. So I have to rely on Word to tell me. So I highlight the color text and I go to more colors. And here you go. Here's the answer. So we'll write this down. So we've got 47, 84, 150. So that's the blue, right? And then we know from our PowerPoint that white is 25, 256, 256, 256. Okay. And then try to find here we go. The contrast checker. So there's a website called contrastchecker.com. And after you write down both the colors, you're going to go to contrastchecker.com. Oops. I'm going to drag it over here so you can see it. Okay. So what we're doing is going to go ahead and set up both these numbers in here. So 47, make sure how we had it before. And reload this. Okay. So I clicked right there on those colors, and I'm just going to type in these numbers, because in all candor, I just not a color person in that way. And it's going to give me this hexadecimal code here. Okay. And I hit OK. And I click right here. In the foreground, I'm going to get rid of all these numbers and put the 256. Oops, numbers lock went. Oops. me do it. Maybe it's just gonna be.
Jennifer,
Mm-hmm.
this is Mary. We're having a problem seeing the PowerPoint and the contrast checker. It still shows the Word document. Are you showing
Are
something
you seeing
else?
it now? No?
No.
Okay, hold on. What about now? Can you see the contrast checker now?
No.
Oh, okay, hold on. Let me see what else we can do. Oh, it said resume share. Hold on. Resume share. It wants to do the Word document. Hold on. Resume share. Wait, maybe it's got to do share. Okay, hold on. Apparently I have to do it to share just
There we
around.
go.
Okay,
Yep.
so the contrast checker for some reason, and I just got this computer back, but you got to put the code in there. And then when you end up putting it in there, and for some reason it won't let me put the last number in here. Oh, wait. For some reason it's not doing it, but it'll tell you on here whether it failed or it passed. So again, you're looking at AA. Again, often just going to 18 font will fix your problems. So honestly, it might be better just to go in 18 font on most of these. So if there's an issue, it won't be a big issue because at 18 it resolves it. And the WCAG 2.0 AA is what you're looking for. That is what the Office of Civil Rights is looking for, not AAA. Although again, in this scenario, AAA 18. So in 18 font, even with these colors, we're okay. But you want to use this contrast checker site and a better computer than mine to put in the information, and it'll give you the results in terms of what passed or failed. Then you can pick a different color. And again, you could pick from this color wheel. The colorblind should not, but the rest of you can pick from this color wheel. I like to go with the numbers. That way there's no question that what I put in is correct. But that is very important. And more so, honestly, when you get to your PowerPoints and trying to make them accessible, the colors become a big issue, because one of the things for accessibility is you're not supposed to also have colors convey a meaning. So if you're trying to say green is correct, you need to actually say green is correct, not put green, like the color green, as the only way of understanding the context of green is correct. So again, remember that when you're looking at this, you're looking at this from a mindset of you may not be able to see it well or see it at all. And so you're relying on something to read you the information and convey complete and accurate meaning in it. So can you see the Word document now? Can everybody see it? Trying to make sure.
No, it's still on the contrast checker.
Okay, I think I have to stop sharing and then share back the Word document. Hold on.
Okay.
It apparently is very specific. Yep. To what?
Yep. Now it's back.
Now you have the. Okay, perfect. Okay, so now even though I see the PowerPoint, you don't see the PowerPoint. And there's some more information in the PowerPoint about color contrast. Let me actually show that to you because I think that's important to kind of get a gist of it. Bear with me 1 second while I get back in here to this share. There we go. Hold on. Oh, there we go. New share. Okay, so now you can see the PowerPoint, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So here you see there's some little boxes keep jumping up. Best are black and yellow, black and yellow, black and white, black and orange, blue and white. And then you have some really poor ones, red and blue, red and blue. And those are some of my issues with colors. So I would not be able to see some things right here in this realm. But that's one of the things that you want to look at. Honestly, it appears to me that if you go on the color wheel and go directly across, those appear to be the most effective. You see how it's effective? It's this one and this one directly across. So green and purple will probably be fine as well. But if you're right next to each other, orange and red, you cannot see. It's not effective. You don't want to take a chance. But again, sometimes you'll see the results will say at 18 or above. That will be adequate. And it will tell you this ratio of 4.5 to 1. But if you go on the color contrast checker that we just went to at contrastchecker.com, it'll do that work for you, so you don't even have to think about what the ratio is. It has that already processed in the background. And you see here the steps for looking at the colors. But all you're trying to achieve is WCAG 2.0 AA. So, okay. And we did this, but I'm going to reiterate this about the language. Hold on. Let me get the sharing back up. I think the window went. I'm not sure why I can't see the panel cancel. It's trying to sign me into something. Are y'all able to see anything, or did I cut off the sharing? Wait, I see.
Yeah, no, we're not seeing anything.
Okay, here we go. I think I got this back open. Okay, there we go. Okay, so I'm going to share with you the Word document again. Where did it go? Move that. Nope. Okay, here we go. Okay, so now you should see the Word document again. And what I want to show you is that there is a built-in accessibility checker in Word. And we saw that earlier when we were doing the info, but I want to reiterate that. So again, it is under info and check for issues. It's check accessibility. And you see right here, it said no accessibility issues found, because we did use the headings, we did use our alt text, we checked on the color. So those are all fine, and that's what it's telling us. It has nothing more. But it does give you some more information about making documents accessible. I honestly have not found these links very helpful. If you're looking for additional information, I wouldn't suggest going here or going to the Adobe site. It's very confusing. I'm a hands-on person, so honestly, I use the YouTube, and I will recommend one particular person when we get to that point of the conversation. But I did want to reiterate that there are some built-in additional information pieces. Okay. I also want to say that when you are looking at accessibility, you may see issues such as errors or warnings or tips. And you can usually address those by right-clicking, and it'll give you some options. Like if we didn't have headings, but it wanted us to have headings, it will actually convey that exact information to you. And you want to get rid of all your issues before you actually convert this to a PDF document. And that will kind of lead us into the PDF portion of this. The most important thing about that is that when you make a PDF, you need to make sure that you're not doing this, print PDF. You want to save as PDF and allow it to make the PDF. And that allows it to bring over the headings, the color, the table information, so you don't lose that. Now, I don't know if you can see this. Hold on. me see if I can get back over here to part of work. Okay, so once you're in PDF, you want to make sure that you, and I'm going to share something else with you. Hold on. Here we go. A lot of, there we go. Screen one. Let me know if you see the PDF. Is everyone seeing the PDF?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so here's the PDF of what we made. You see it does have some headings here. It's got the table of contents. It's still clickable. Our link to NC Sarah, where we put it in here, automatically made, and it asks you to allow or block. So what I actually want to show you here is another document that has some more things going on, and I'm going to show you how to check and see if this document is accessible. The first thing you want to do is find your accessibility. I've already got it set up here, but you should be able to find it. If you can't find it, you can always search in that box. This is Adobe Pro Professional. Like I said before, you want to make sure that you get yourself a copy of this because it's going to be the most robust in terms of doing all this. I do not believe that you could do this in Reader just because of what you're having to do. You have to have this as a tool. But this also helps if you have to redact anything, which, you know, is marking it out in black lines so you can't see it. That's also a helpful thing. It allows you to organize pages, enhance scans, convert images into like something that you can actually OCR or see and add text to. Which kind of brings me to one little thing I do want to mention. If you have an org chart, you have to make that image accessible, which means you can't just put org chart. So like an org chart would not be a good way of conveying information to someone who has a screen reader. Same thing if you had a workflow, because if the workflow just says the title of the workflow, you've conveyed nothing. So you have to make sure that you have text within your web page or document that lets you know what exactly was in that, and then something in the picture or image of the workflow or org chart that says this image replicates the text in terms of the process or the information. So the person who's screen reader is reading it to them, it's clear that they're not missing anything because you've already said that in the text itself. So I think that's pretty important. So accessibility right here will allow you to do a full check, and it does auto tag, which means it tries to put headings on it. If any of you have worked with web pages, you know, when you're seeing table rows and table definitions and spans and codes like that, that's the thing you're going to see shortly. But don't be intimidated in it. Honestly, it's just practice, and there's a million YouTube videos and one lady who's excellent, who I'll share with you shortly, who goes over this step by step, and you can actually, as you see the errors, because it's not possible for me to replicate every single error, simply put the information of what the error is into YouTube and find a video showing you how to correct it, which I think is so helpful. So when you do the full check, leave everything as it is. Do not uncheck anything, just run start checking. So right here you see, here's my report. It's telling me I've got some issues. So it says tag PDF failed. The best part of, honestly, of this Adobe Pro is that some things you can just fix and it will fix them. And let's not question that. Honestly, it knows what's wrong, it knows what to fix, and it will fix it. So you just simply click fix, and then it'll pass, right? Primary language, fix. Just make sure you check the right one. Title, fix. And sometimes it needs your information. So I typed that in. Before it used to say that. So you want to go ahead and put in accessibility 101. And you see now it passes. And see, it didn't fail right there. It's got an alternate text issue, which is probably that big box there. Yes, that big box here. You need to describe it. Purdue University logo, slogan, and slogan. And you can put whatever you want, but slogan that states Purdue repository for online teaching and learning. You see right there, it should fix. Oops, didn't keep it, hold on. Oh, I think I hit cancel instead of close. So I'm just gonna put something from here, Purdue University logo. Save and close, there it goes. So make sure you don't hit cancel like I did or I'll just mess it up. Okay, list. Uh-oh, this is one where there is no fix. And this will often happen. Okay, same thing for this one. So you don't want to skip. Explain doesn't really help. I've tried that a million times. So actually what you're going to do is go in here, and in my PowerPoint, I actually have the steps one by one. Oops. Let me get to them. Okay, so we have list item failed right here. The first thing you're going to do is click on that and find this actual element, which is what's wrong. You see on the screen it's highlighting there's something wrong with that particular component. So you're going to show in tags panel, and here are the tags that many of you may be familiar with from websites. So right here, you have this list, and you've got it right here. Okay. And when I went in and I tried to figure out what was wrong with this, it's this section piece that's wrong. So this section has popped up, it's confused. And instead of just seeing a list, it's putting it under a section for no real reason. So the solution is to drag those guys up and move it away from there. Let's see. Yeah, make sure we get these guys in the right level though. And away from the section tag. And don't just delete the section tag. This is the hardest part, is dragging it, honestly. So I'm gonna collapse these guys. But once you get the list pieces off, you wanna delete this, and you don't have to do that. You can just simply click on section, oops, and click delete on your screen. And then you should be able to check again. Oops, it's got two of them, hold on. Check again. So I think what happened is when I dragged it, it made it go under the wrong section. See, it needs to be even with that other list. There we go. There's one. Okay, I think we might be okay. Wait, no, see this one right here is in the wrong spot. Again, you're just trying to drag it back to where it is away from, oops, away from this piece. Check again. So we're still, element one is still messed up. So we're gonna go back into the panel. And it should be, let's see where element one is. Oh, there it is. Okay, so that one right there is not even with the other ones. So this is a matter of just getting it to drag. If I do that, it's gonna be in the wrong spot. There, they're all even now. So when we get them all even, and go back in here, and again, I go back to accessibility checker, and I go check again. And now it passed. But again, hopefully you're more proficient with your mouse and dragging in this than I, okay? Now, nesting is also an issue where things are not quite in the right order. So I've got a slide on nesting. And so to fix the structure of nesting, you're going to also drag things around. So the order of it is incorrect. So you're going to click on the arrow, which is the element. You're going to show in tags panel. And you're trying to find it. Sometimes there it is. Okay, there's H3. Okay, so it's decided this is a heading 3, but the last thing that it had, it's like under several sections for no rhyme or reason. There's nothing in the section but this heading. Then there's another section that has nothing really. So there's a paragraph. And the paragraph looks like it actually is a citation. So what we're trying to do is, it's got too many levels here. This whole thing is a section. They've made that a section, which isn't really correct. So what we're going to do is change it. So you see right here where I went into, let me go back in so you could do it slower. I went into here and put it under properties. And I'm going to say this is just a paragraph. Okay. And then we're going to try one more. We're going to go back this way and go back to our accessibility checker and try to check again, see if we got anywhere. No. So sometimes it is hunt and peck to try to figure this out. So now we've got this, but what we could do is, we didn't really need it to be a heading because we don't have a heading 2. In this document, all we had was, and see, almost this one is like the same thing. So I'm actually going to delete, I don't want to delete this tag. It's almost like this thing is tagged twice. Delete empty tags. Nope. Delete tag. Okay. I'm going to go there. All right, so there we go. So now it's not picking this up. But if we go back in our document and go to 2, see right here is heading 1. We don't have any heading 2s. So we're just trying to find what we did before. It's just a paragraph. So that whole box is just a paragraph. So the way we did it is actually correct. We just have to find, so like it didn't actually put the paragraph anywhere. There's that. There's a list. We can move under the paragraph. And let's see if this is the properties, but this right here isn't getting tagged at all. So that is our problem, is that we have to fix this particular thing. And what I did the last time was just change the actual tag so it was just a paragraph, but it looks like right here we've got an issue with it. So that's the only thing we've got left, I think. So we're going to try to go in the tags panel and try to fix it again. Oh, wait, hold on. That's a different one. Here's a different one. It wasn't the right one. So here's a different one that has this heading 3 on it again. So again, we're going to go in here to properties. We see that we have a paragraph. And honestly, it could be a different heading, but it just can't be. It really should be consistent. And what's happened here is it's not picked up anything except for heading 1. It's made all the other ones paragraphs. So to truly fix this, we should go in and change all the ones that are like this to a paragraph. But in the meantime, let's just see if doing that will fix it by changing that one to the correct thing. Yeah, see? So really, the issue is that none of these came out as paragraphs or as heading 2s, and they all need to be heading 2s. But see, as soon as we made that a heading 2 instead of a heading 3, then it fixes the issue. So the point being, you cannot skip headings. So that's the most important thing to note, is that you cannot skip headings. So if we wanted to fix this, let's see if we can even get it to do it. So we need to get to new tag, which we had under properties. Let's see. And you'll see here's some other things that did come up as issues. See, logical reading order is basically something you have to read it and see if it makes sense to you. And if you wanted to look at that a little bit deeper, you want to click on reading order. And it actually tells you the order it's going to read it in. So it's going to read that one first, then this one, then this one, then this one. Then it's going to read this as a box. Then it reads 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. See, some of these right here, it's like it's reading them 2, 12, 13, 14, but they're sort of making sense. 22 and 23 is the last box. So when you have those type of issues, you want to just check and make sure it makes sense. And if it does make sense, then you want to go ahead and leave it alone, and you can go ahead and pass it. So right here, you would click pass. But let's see, I want to go back in here, options. I'm going to go back to reading order and show you something else. Okay, so here's where we had all these headings. So when I clicked on structure types, you see these headings showing up. So really, to make this accurate, this one right here, I should go here like that, and I should change that to heading 2. I don't really know if it worked because I still see a P there. That is how that works. Let me see if I can get it to go again. This one right here. Here we go. Tag is heading 2. I don't know why it's not doing it, but this is what you're supposed to do, and for some reason, it's not quite doing it. But each of these should be a heading. There. Oh, I think that's why we're not seeing it, because it's under a P. So we're just going to have to go in there and do like that. And each of these should be a heading 2. So basically what you do one place, you have to do every place else so it makes sense. So we have one heading 2. Oh, and I think I see what the problem is. Right here, we need to highlight this whole thing. Nope, it's still not clicking on it. I think we have a little, there we go. I think it may have taken it. This one's having a little bit of issues, but see, it should be, the 4 should be in there as well, which is what's worrying me about this. But I think you get the point that what you're looking at is trying to make sure it's in the right order, and with the structure types that you've actually tagged it as the correct structures. And you'll see that just labels, and there's bullets and everything. So you can close that. And then you've got the color contrast. So again, it's going to let you figure it out. So the part about this that would be difficult is you'd have to kind of figure out, well, actually I'll tell you how you would do this. That's probably the easiest. When we were looking at the PowerPoint before, we saw that black tends to read well with white. So we're okay with that. And this orange color is also okay with it. It's larger font, so it would be accessible, and you would kind of know that as you get more experience in things. Otherwise, what you could do is go into a Word document, because you can't really see the color schemes in this document at all. You'll have to go into a Word document, try to find a matching color, and then go to color contrast checker. But again, black tends to do well with almost every color, especially when you're looking at that sort of size font, because it is 18 or larger. And as you do this over and over again, you'll kind of get a better feel of what tends to pass, and then you'll be comfortable going, hey, this passes. So now you don't have no issues at all with this. This is fully accessible, and you can put it on your website, and OCR will not write you a mean note and let you know that you need to start producing 1 million documents to them to show that you were in good faith trying to do something, which is what they tend to do. But the good news on that one is it takes them a long time to answer after they complain. But that's an interesting thing. All right, so now we've looked at some types of issues. I've got some other ones actually in the PowerPoint itself, but I wanted to shortly go over PowerPoints, because I think that's another thing that sometimes people forget, that they're supposed to be making them accessible. So I'm going to see if I can get, let me see if I can get this to share again with the PowerPoint itself. Bear with me 1 second while I try to get this to work. some reason I'm not seeing the share menu. Oh wait, here we go. All right, so I'm stopping sharing that and I'm going to share the PowerPoint. Okay, so you should be seeing the PowerPoint. Can everybody tell me if they can see the PowerPoint?
Yes, we can see it.
Perfect. Okay, great. Thank you so much. All right, so let me get it back to presentation mode. I've got way too many screens. So let me get out of design ideas. Just get here so you can see it. Again, the big thing is going to be on images. It's the same process in all these Word. Make it a little bit smaller so you can see it. Right click and edit your alt text. This is one of these, and it'll tell you that description automatically generated. So a sunset over a grass field. Well, I don't know that I would describe it like that. There's a tree in there. You know, and there's like some other stuff over there, and it's gold. And the more nuances you put in there, the more it's going to be accurate. So that's a very, very basic description, but obviously it should be like a pink sky, looks like a Christmas type tree, a golden field with some grass in it, you know, and you could add some more. There's some other things in there. But all these, they're automatically generated. I would definitely look back over these. If it was decorative, you could mark it decorative. So that's one of the important things you want to definitely look at in PowerPoints. I also want to reiterate that we are using sans serif fonts. So Calibri, Arial, 18 or larger, because if you do it too small, it's going to be very difficult for those people that have vision issues. You don't want to put a lot of animation because some people get triggered by that with their eyesight, and it could cause vertigo from anything flashing or moving quickly. Again, Microsoft has these set up to try to make them as foolproof for accessibility as possible. So use your pre-approved templates. Do not customize. And if you got to customize, here's where it gets a little bit strange. If you have to create a custom template, you create a slide in PowerPoint, then take a screenshot, insert that image into a built-in template. So that way everything is still working, but you've got this background of something. So I'm not sure if you've seen this done, but I'll often do this. I'll go to the Creative Commons and pick an image, let's say of a group of individuals on a campus. And I will actually put that image, let's pretend like this is the image so you can see what I mean. Right here, but this is the actual, I haven't changed the template. I just put the image in there, copy and paste it, and then I right click it and send it to back. So on this one you can't see it, but often this part right here will just show that color. So depending on how this template is set up is whether or not you can actually see the image. But I have many things like that where I have set it up so that I can see something a little bit different, but you got to be careful, you know. So that's an important thing you want to consider. It does have an accessibility checker as well in the same exact place under info in the PowerPoint, and it will tell you if there's something wrong. So be sure to avail yourself of that as well. Again, this is set up to be accessible, so the color schemes that you see, even the choices you have for different color schemes, they're all set up to be high contrast, so you don't have to worry about that. If you're doing a presentation, you always should bring a paper copy as well as a digital copy, because some people will want to see it on their own device, and that's where their screen reader is. So you want to do both of those things. You can provide an audio transcript using the notes section, and then in the screen reader, it will actually read the notes section to the person. So that's an important thing that you want to consider as you're moving forward if you're putting these out somewhere. Okay, and you also want to make sure that you're pointing them to a website where it is accessible. We're not responsible for inaccessible things on third-party websites, but you sure don't want to present something to someone or email it to them and then it causes all sorts of issues. So I do recommend you look at it and see, and it may be where that's not going to be the site that you can use. So that's definitely one thing that you want to consider as you move forward. So as you can see, there's a lot of components to this. And honestly, just in the Adobe PDF component, there is so much to learn. There's all different types of errors. There's some additional errors that are listed on this, but I'm going to give you a big tip. in terms of who to follow, who is just easy to understand. On YouTube, the name of the group or person, it's a lady, is Wolf Helping Hand. If you look up Wolf Helping Hand, she's got a tremendous number of YouTube videos on different things. It's very granular. So we have how to make a correction during PDF accessibility check, how to make a correction and when it says table regularity failed, how to make a correction when it says list failed, alternate text failed, all those little things that she goes over them one by one, but it's like a 15 or 20-minute video for each one of those. But you can forward along and kind of get to the part that you're interested in. But as you can see, there's a lot of resources and a lot of information out there, and it's a lot of just practice. As you start going over this and kind of remembering what you need to do, I am going to add in something about email accessibility that I didn't think it was necessary to go over this, but I would definitely encourage you to read it when I send you the PowerPoint shortly. There's also going to be a short little section on forms that's probably beyond what you need. But one of the general things I want to mention about forms is always label your fields accurately. Don't let the auto label do anything. If you're using forms in Word, make sure that you are labeling them accurately. There's some other tips I will share with you shortly within this, because I know that may or may not apply to everyone, because not everyone uses those forms. A lot of people have online form applications like we do, and the internal forms are less often used, but nevertheless, there might be something in there of use to someone. So I'll add those two other components back into this, and I will send that out shortly. If you have any questions about a specific thing, let me know. Like I said, I'm constantly learning about this because this is something I do just because we don't have a on-campus resource. And so I'm sure that's the case for many of you, that you don't have a person. So you may, in the end, if you put some time and effort into this, become the person that people go to as far as where do I need to go to find this information. So it's definitely something that can kind of distinguish you from your colleagues and make you someone that the administration notices. So I would definitely recommend that to you if you're looking for like promotion or evolving into a technology specialist, because adaptive technology and all this accessibility technology positions are growing across the nation. Did anyone have any specific questions? I only have a couple minutes, but I just wanted to make sure. So if no one has any specific questions, I'm going to go ahead and let Mary conclude the webinar.
Okay. Well, thank you, Jen.
I'll send this out to you shortly. And again, if you see anything else that you're interested in or have other questions about, have other PowerPoints that aren't specific to this that are different issues, so let me know, and I'm glad to send out what I have.
Thanks, Jennifer. Really appreciate your time with this. Lots of great information that we can use. And,
No problem.
Like Jennifer said, I'm sure she'd be willing to answer your questions as they come up. And we'll get the information sent out to you. Anything else, Jennifer?
Yes, I'm still on.
Okay. Anything else you need to add at the end?
No, just honestly, it's continuing to grow as a thing, and YouTube is the best way because the Word and Adobe explanations of things are very difficult to understand. It's a lot of words and it's not necessarily useful. So I recommend YouTube. Put exactly what you see as an error in your PDF or your Word document into YouTube. Someone, including Wolf Helping Hands, will have gone over this for you and made it simple. And it's basically trial and error. As you saw me going through the documents, it is trial and error. So have a lot of patience and think about it. It's for the greater good that you're doing this. And that's it.
Okay. I think we'll close it out. I don't see any questions. And like Jennifer said, I'll send out the PowerPoint when she sends it to me, and the recording will go out to everyone on Friday of this webinar also. So I hope everybody has a great Wednesday and great rest of your week.
Thank you, everyone.